Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, do you know what class is this?
Brief history of worship.
This class is about church and worship. I don't know whether you are really interested in whether you are Christian or not, but still, I'm trying to teach about worship in church. So, this is, I think I haven't seen you in the class, so this is the first time.
The first time, yes.
Yeah, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Xuan Ming, and Xuan Ming, yes.
Okay.
I stayed in Israel. And Israel.
Okay.
And in Riverside County.
Okay.
I've been here for almost 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
I have two daughters actually. They are attend primary school and high school.
Oh, okay.
So I think I shouldn't waste my time. So I think I need to study. So I come here.
Okay. Okay. So they are in high school in around what age?
Ninth and sixth grader.
Sixth grader and
Sixth grader and ninth grader.
oh,
I have two daughters.
6 and 9.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. So you came here for children's education.
Yes, I come down to study, and I think I should use this time to improve my English, whether improve my English and some American culture, and I think it can help me to merge the life of here. I can communicate more with native speakers.
Okay. Sorry that I'm not a native speaker.
It's fine. We can communicate with English. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Christian Wee. So my Chinese last name is, they say, Wei.
Wei.
Do you know one of the dynasty long time ago in China?
Oh
That's Wei.
yeah. Kingdom. One of the
Yeah.
three kingdom. Wei.
Yeah, that's Wei.
Okay.
Yeah, so according to my genealogy, and then around 300 years AD, and so one of the scholars from China. So I came to here, and then so I came over here about 27 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm
It's a
from
long
Korea.
time.
I'm from Korea, and I study intercultural studies, meaning that try to compare the cultures and what's the difference and then similarity like that. And then in Biola, it's a Christian school, and I have two daughters. They already grown up, and so they left home for college, and one is both at the graduate school. So, and one is in also last year for the graduate school, and in the graduate school, and another, my older one, she already had 2 masters.
Wow.
But she's going back to school again.
Uh-huh.
So January, she's gonna go back to school, and then in the meantime, and then she's gonna come back home. So like was at the end of August, and just stay 4 months here, and then she's working now. So in Boston, and then her job is very flexible. She has consulting job, so she doesn't have to go to workplace every day. Maybe officially she can go to the work office, once in a quarter.
Uh-huh.
Whenever she needs and she can go to office. So and maybe it's hard to get a lease and rent is so expensive, and then she decided to come back home and 4 months, and then maybe she quit a job and then go back to school.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I try to help the classmate, the student in the class, and will give you kind of practice English. And then I think most people come to this class not for the studies, but try to, they have some of their own things, right? So that's why I try to give them kind of opportunity to speak English, practice English, and try to share about what you said in American life, and then read this topic.
That's good.
Because this is a part of class, so I have to teach the class, right? And so being here about 2 years, been teaching in the school about 2 years, and then I was about to quit.
Why?
Because every week I came over here and recorded my lecture, and then no one is in the classroom. It's too hard.
Yes.
It's too hard.
I used to be a teacher in China, so I think how to say interaction between teacher and students, I think is most important in one class.
Yeah.
Yes.
So nobody's here. I just recorded lectures and coming back and just think about almost 1.5 hours without any stopping, and I started recording too for the student who cannot come to class today. So it was hard, but it's kind of meaningless. And then I was about to quit, but was the government that pushed the schools open, and then this school supposed to open at least was next quarter. I think that they have to open, and it means that they have to run the class in person. So so it's getting better. So I'm teaching in another schools, and then yesterday, so that was like us. So students working and they have their own things, and then almost first class is about more than 40 people, but yesterday a little bit less than the first class, but still people are coming, and then almost same situation as here. So still they work, and they have to keep their status, and then that's why they come they register the classes, and
So do you teach every day here?
not every day. I'm teaching one class.
Or just on Friday?
Was a church and worship.
Or church and worship?
Yeah, that's a class title. And I don't know whether you are very exposed to church culture. Have you been in church?
Yes.
In China?
No, I came here, and my friend take me to the church. And yes, I went there for a few weeks. But I need to take care of my 2 daughters, and my little daughter dislike church because she needs to separate with me and go to the children care. And the children, I think, she thought the children there are much little than her, and she felt boring. So she doesn't want to go there, so I can't go there either.
Church is not big, or
I think it's big because They have English worship and Korean worship and Chinese worship.
Oh,
Yes.
maybe they rent out to. It's originally it's American church or
I think so. It's in Chino or Chino Hill.
Chino Hill?
Hills.
yeah.
Crossroad. I don't remember the name. Crossroad maybe.
Crossroad?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I think it's big one, and they offer free lunch for every Sunday. So after the worship, we can get together and communicate with each
Okay,
other.
so you've never been exposed to church, but when you came over here, and you finally got exposed to church, right?
Yeah, yes.
So how was your experience about church worship?
I think everyone is kind to me,
Mhm.
and so after the worship, they have lots of team,
Mhm.
and they will how to say classified different people.
Mhm.
And if you are interested in, maybe if you are teenagers, they have teenager team and help them to how to say they will have something like meeting
Mhm.
on Friday, and
Yeah.
they
So
will
we
get
call it
together.
small group meeting.
Yes, they will get together and maybe have some discussion about the Bible, something like that.
Okay.
And they have they will organize people to marathon. I think there was a big event. They help people run together and do exercise and keep healthy. And so when the holiday comes, they organize some party.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's kind. Everyone is kind, but I didn't attend that event because my daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, she's. I think she's not big enough to understand.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you thought about taking your daughter to the adult service like with you?
Yes, my big daughter she did voluntary work here there because she needs service hour and at her school, and she she helped with the lunch set up as voluntary work, and I think she like it, but you know the little one is annoying.
How old? 6 years old?
No, she's 11 this year.
Oh, 11.
11.
So sixth grader in 11 years old. Okay.
Yes, but she dislike to go to church. So how to say? So I cannot go there because you know my husband is in China. He has to work for money to support us. So I need to take care $2 by my own. So when I go out, I need to take them with me.
Okay. Yeah.
So I cannot go to a church on my own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I cannot leave them at home.
Yeah.
So if my little daughter cannot dislike the church, I cannot go there.
Yeah. Maybe so my recommendation is that just maybe why don't you volunteer, with your older children, older ones. So maybe you can go to worship together, three of you, and then work together. That's my recommendation. So I have been doing the kind of family ministry. So nowadays when family are really separated. They don't have communication with each other, and then kids are really busy at school, and then but when they go to as a teen, they go to 12, 13, and they have their own way, no communication between parents and children. The gap is getting bigger and bigger. So I want them have a strong family bond, and then work together as a family. So I wanted to go to church together. Like kids don't like to go to the children's service, and why don't you go to adult service? And then we whole family sit together. I did with my kids, and then I don't go to Korean church, and then we have attended American church. So my kids, and then they were in kind of youth group. We called it the junior high school and high school groups, and then we moved to American church, and they tried out, and then but they don't like it. They don't like the culture, and they decided not to go. And then every Sunday, so we go to the adult service, after adult service, and we come back. So it's okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So maybe your older daughter like to volunteer, and then you can talk. Yeah, you can talk to your little one, and then maybe younger one, and then your sister like this one, and when can we go to church together, and after that can you serve together, and then maybe that's a better way there, because you don't have to separate. So once I went to Malaysia, and then there's a huge church, more than 2,000, and then Chinese church, Malaysian Chinese church, and then they used to have the whole together. They will separate kids from the adult, and then children and youth and adults together. But nowadays, when I went there, and then they used to do that, but still nowadays children's maybe they have kind of the little children is kind of boring. They don't understand, and nowadays they have their own service time. But still, if parents want to come to the service, and then they bring their kids. Maybe crying and talking, but still they're okay, because they're okay, and they don't think that kids are distracting worship, but they take a part of the worship as a family, and if they want, and they come to the service as a family, and they worship together. So maybe I think she's already 11 years old, and she's grown up, and I saw the high school and junior high school. Sometimes preaching was boring. They playing something, and then there is a sermon outline with the projector. They follow, so they are multitask. And even though they don't listen to the sermon, but they followed and with the blanks, and I was really surprised. And then in front of the church choir, band is there, and then leaders, the band is there, and then part of the group is there, choir is there. And was grandpa, grandma, and mom, my parents, and little kids, and 3-4 generations there. They are not really trained for the singing, but still up there, it's a volunteer work, and they sing together. That was just kind of impressed me.
Yes. I think time goes by. When she gets older, I think she will get better understanding, and I will try. Anyway, I will try.
Maybe she just came, and English is not comfortable yet.
Yes.
But your English is pretty good though. Maybe they are okay, right?
My big daughter is okay, and actually she's attending a school of Christian as well.
Okay.
Yes, and they have Bible course, and they need to worship every week, and so during the summer holiday, she does volunteer work in the church as well.
Okay.
The children they care the how to say maybe the member of the church, the children from the member, and she teach them homework, something like that.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
Also they have the party. Everyone will get together, have pool party. So I think the atmosphere is very good.
Mhm.
So in their church,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think my little daughter, if she come with us, I think she will feel the kindness from the church.
Okay.
Yes, it just takes time.
Yeah, you generally show about your students. But
Mhm.
what about the service experience? Do you know when you come to an about 1 hour service, right?
Where?
At church, and then you come to church, and then on Sundays, and
Uh-huh.
people get together and have a singing and preachings, and how did you feel about it?
I went there just to listen the lecture, and after that we will have dinner
Mhm.
together, and I didn't attend something like the party. Yes, they have singing before the worship. They have singing, and they stand together and sing.
Yeah.
I don't know the song, but sounds good. The song sounds good. So I can sing, but I enjoy listening.
Okay, so have you had a kind of experience in China? And I don't know whether the government doesn't allow the religion, but still any.
I think so. Because I live in Guangzhou. Do you know the city of Guangzhou?
I
And
heard of
I think it's a city. It's a quite open city.
it. Okay.
And there are some famous church in Guangzhou, but I didn't attend the worship there.
What about, so while you are in China, and did you practice ancestor worshiping kind of stuff?
No,
No.
no.
So any religious activity in China for yourself?
No.
No.
Actually, my friend showed me some give one of my friend gave me Bible, and I try to read. I
Mhm.
try to study, but it's hard for me to learn in English.
Where did you learn English though? Where did you learn English?
In China,
China where?
Guangzhou.
Guangzhou, you go to private academy to learn?
Yes, because in China, how to say, we used to think that English is very important, and so English is one of the main course in China. So
Okay.
so the children start learning English from kindergarten.
I see.
Yes, everyone learns English from kindergarten.
I see.
But how to say, English is a second language. So Chinese learned maybe most of the students learned more than 10 years, but
Yeah, I know.
it's still weak. It's still poor English.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think I practice my English, especially oral English, at Canton Fair. Canton Fair, and exploring fair exhibition. So there are lots of foreign buyers come to Guangzhou and attend the fair. So so you need to communicate with foreigner, and then that's a good chance to practice oral English. So if students do not have such chance, So it's hard for them to speak English because as you know, Chinese is how to say
Yeah.
the competition is very heavy and everyone need to
Like Korea.
yes the task the examination is very hard so they use most of their time to pass the examination so the Chinese is weak at the oral English so when I attend my university because my university is an foreign language university, so I got a chance to go to the Canton Fair and practice my oral English. But even that, I think when I come here and leave, I think my English is old and there's lots of new phrase I haven't heard about it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I need more chance to communicate with the native people.
So try to watch the movie a lot.
Yes, I think it's a good idea, but you know, my time is tough. You know, I need to pick up and drop off my daughters.
I know that's a part of American life.
Yes, and it's very.
If they have certain activities like playing sports and then you gotta go here and there, it's so busy.
Yes.
I don't know whether your daughter is doing kind of any extra activity outside of school, maybe playing tennis, like a lot of Chinese playing tennis and a lot of Chinese playing the piano. Stuff, and it's a lot of work.
Yes, right. So I just one person and I need to take care of two. I think I don't have much time to watch TV, but actually I think it's been more than 10 years I haven't watched TV because I think my time is tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So before coming here and I used to be a teacher at school in junior high school. So the teacher and students are busy. Getting prepared for the examination of high school entrance. So it's hard because we have to work from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I totally have no time.
I grew up like that. High school.
I heard in Korea it's more tough than China, right? So many people, many students suffer a lot from the examination and they
especially for college entrance exam.
Yes, the same as in China. And
here too.
Student has no time to sleep as well, and maybe they just take maybe 4 or 5 hours a day to sleep.
I live in a very minority dominant city, and like a lot of Chinese, Indians, and Koreans, and then used to be a very white people dominant, Caucasians dominating city, but they left. But nowadays, Indians and Chinese is dominating in the city. So more than half is the minority. We call it minority, and then kids are really poor. It's kind of poor. So sometimes they have to go to academy after school. So one of my daughter's friend, and she after class, and then she plays tennis for school, and then she after that she go to academy, and then coming back home like 12 o'clock.
Oh.
She repeated everything in the academy. It's the same as keep up with the schools and like this, and then you think that American education is easier than that's Chinese, not really though. So especially for the minorities and especially Chinese and Indians and Koreans, they spend a lot of times and monies on children's education.
Yes, yes.
It's very comparative, and when they go to college nowadays, they kind of there's no let's abolish the poverty actions, and then they assign this quota for the black people, this quota for the Hispanic people, this poor people. There is their entrance kind of quota was there, but they abolish it nowadays. And but still, when you go to college, I don't know. And like in private college, so people really want to go, and especially Asians, right? Ivy League and there's a big like liberal arts colleges, and but it's they are your children competing with the other Chinese, Koreans, Asians, not competing with the what's the Caucasians and blacks and Latinos. But I don't know how they're going to change nowadays because there is no more affirmative actions. Because give them some advantage for the college admissions. Yeah, like that. Anyway, so it's not easy still like China, and then it's not easy here for children's education. But yeah, I don't know.
But I think here students are also busy, but they are busy, how to say, improving their skills, their real skills, something like the problem solving and the teamwork spirits, and they have time to do voluntary work. They have some social practice. That helps them, how to say, grow a lot. The student in China, they take most of their time to, how to say, to practice their skills of doing exercise.
Maybe, yeah.
So
if a parent aims really high in the top tier school, they have to study like Chinese. In China,
yes.
they have to study like Koreans in Korea.
Yes.
Other than that, no chance. And then here is like private school requires kind of leadership skills and how they volunteer, and how they build up the other abilities, and that's why the people do that for the college, not for themselves.
Yes.
It's a different education system, but still study is basic. And they said, okay, if you go, for instance, I saw my kids, and then once if you wanna send the kids to Ivy League, and they need to get all A's at for high school. That's basic.
Yes.
Mostly. If you don't have any certain criteria, and then that's basic. And then you gotta do any extra work, maybe sports.
Yes, yes.
Not the level, but it's the top level. All the way top level. So I can see the Chinese a lot. So they play tennis very well, and then they go to the really good college here with that one.
Yeah.
But study is basic.
Yes, right. But I think it's good because it improves them how to say they lots of skills. But in China, students just know how to pass the exam.
Okay.
All their focus is on the exam.
All right.
Yeah, and they don't have time to take exercise.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for sharing the China culture of education. That's it's a common that we here in Korea, in China, and other countries, especially they already want to success through the education, and then they got to do something. So parents invest a lot of things, but a little bit different way in America. But sometimes, somehow, if you go deep, and then you can see how much the parent invested, their resource on children, especially not the middle class, top class.
Yeah.
They are different level. It's
Yes,
just
right.
we cannot say tiger mom and it's nothing.
Uh-huh,
Just think about from kindergarten to high school, they sent the top private was a school.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
It's a totally different though. Totally
Yeah.
different. But
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, yeah. So maybe we can talk more next time.
All right.
So yeah, we are talking about worship and church, and then it's been last 2 weeks, and today and next week, and we're gonna talk about brief history of the worship,
Uh-huh,
and based on the Christianity, not other religion.
uh-huh,
And because this is a Christian school, and then we're talking about church and worship. So I don't know, and I have other classmate, maybe he's gonna be late, but he's not a Christian, but like you, and then he exposed to the Christian worship while he was in military service,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know whether he did it, when he was here. So anyway, and so basically, I saw the basic foundation for worship we talked about last week, and then today and then next week, and then we're gonna talk about the brief history of worship and how they worship God in Christianity. So especially there's two parties there, and then there's Old Testament period. We call, when you read the Bible, it's Old Testament is kind of related to the Israel's history.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part is about Jesus Christ's story, and then was Paul's kind of ministry, related ministry, and then other disciples. We called apostles, and then about their own. So, but worship is kind of a Christian was based on the old the Jewish worship.
Jewish.
Jewish worship. So we're gonna a little bit kind of explore how they worship from based on the Bible, and then we can after this period, and then to the Middle Ages, and they have their own worship styles, and the 16th, 17th centuries, and then was 16th, 17th centuries, was the people don't like the Middle Ages, or was religious activities, and Protestants came out and they shaped their own worships, and then we can see how the worship style influence on the nowadays the church's worship style and worships, right? That's kind of brief outline of the history of worship, and worship is kind of old. When you see the Bible, read the Bible, and then each worship is kind of really express the relationship with God. It's not just God is far away. It's not related to us, but worship always kind of leading to God, and it shows that it is a relationship with God. Relationship with God. So always, and then I don't know whether you try to read the Bible, and when they worship it, they build their kind of own the altar.
Altar.
Yeah, altar is kind of making. I don't know, when you worship someone, and then they sacrifice something, and then in Old Testament period, when they worship God, and then they kill the animals, right? And sometimes they use the grains and the burn, and then give to kind of, that's the liturgy. And then altar in there, this basically, you can think that, and sometimes they cover with the stones, and sometimes build up the stones like square shapes, and then on the top, and then you kill animals. Sometimes you put the grains and burn, and then give them God. It's a part of the activity, religious activity. That's and they use that one, but there's a special place there. It's not any place, and then if you see the patriarchy times, like Abraham, Isaac and then Jacob, and then there's no any also like a church and sacred place, but whenever they build altars, there's kind of remember God, and then there's a place.
Mm-hmm.
So when they worship God, it's always sacred. It's a holy place. It's separate from other space there, and then certain activity, rituals, like in Israel and how they do, and the bloodless animals. So some animals are crooked and defected. They will do that, and then so really perfect animals and killed and sacrificed to God, and like this, and sacred rituals, and then there is do something. Maybe when they have sinned, and then kind of pronounce that your sins forgiveness kind of ministry, and sometimes and then reconciliation is there, and then there's a ministry. So based on that one, three sacred places, and then sacred rituals, and then certain rituals, and then just think about Buddhism and Christianity, and then Islam, and they have their own rituals. And I grew up with kind of ancestor worship. My mom was not Christian at the time, and then during a certain day, and then my mom packed something, and it's not a sacred place, but it's like a valleys, and then it's a common, and then she goes and then put something on make some tables, and then put it there, and then she prayed.
Okay.
That is a kind of also we call an animistic worship style. They don't know who God is, but they kind of prayed to gods and bless them like that. And then, but Christian God is a little bit different from animistic, and then also another ancestor worship. So ancestor worship, and we remember ancestors, and pray for the protection and blessings, right? Even though they're already gone, but we remember it's still there, and afterlife is kind of still there, and then their understanding is a little bit similar to the other religion, but still different.
Okay.
So always remember the Old Testament is a sacred place, and certain sacred rituals set aside from normal and common rituals, and then there's a special how they killed, how they worship, and special ministry there do something. So and at that time, and also when there is no tabernacles, it's like when they came out, and then they all kind of strayed in the desert for like 40 years, and then God told them to make a tabernacle, tent, but tent we call tabernacle, and then there is divided 3 sections, and then all the way inside, and they symbolize, and one ark is there, and then there's a God's presence there, and then another part is that basic ritual, and there's a lampstand and bread and something like that, and outside the part is 3 parts there, and then when tabernacle is kind of symbolize God's is there, like now the church is God's there, but God's exists in everywhere, not at the church, not in the temple, but kind of symbolize God's presence.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, God is here too.
Pardon me?
God is here too.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
God is not limited in certain buildings and certain places.
Right.
But we symbolize and memorize and remember that, and then come and then go and then worship God. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. But that's a tabernacle is like a place. So when they want to worship God, and then when they give their sacrifice to God, and then bring something, and then they killed, and then there's places there, and then altar is there, and then burnt, and then if you read Leviticus, Old Testament, and then there is a specific procedures there, different kind of offerings, offerings, and how can you kill, and what part of their animals you gotta give to God, and then you gotta share, and then you gotta eat like this. There's people who really work for the this whole ministry we call priest.
Priest.
Yeah, priest. Yeah. So God assigned to us Aaron. So Aaron is the first priest, high priest, and then that tribes taking care of Levi. We took Levi, and the one of the 12 tribes there. One of the Levi tribes taking care of the worship.
Oh, okay.
And Aaron, especially Aaron, they are chosen to do the whole ritual and ministry. So they're kind of a line of the family, and then there is a kind of to the worship to God. So that's a basic idea about that one. So if you have any questions, then just let me know.
Okay.
Because you don't have any background of Christianity much, and maybe you have a lot of questions, and just let me know. So we don't have to
I just know some Bible stories. Yes, I just try to record them. Try to record them, but I think I knew less about the Old Testament. Yes, I think nowadays the Bible is almost is the New Testament, right?
Old Testament and New Testament, the Jewish people, the Jews, and they don't read the New Testament.
New Testament, yes.
Because they still waiting for Messiah. So Christianity, they believe the Messiah, Jesus Christ the Messiah, came, and then another part of the Bible.
Yes, right. Yes, right. So I think my knowledge of Bible is almost from New Testament.
So you don't know the Old Testament?
Just heard some of them.
Okay.
Yes, I know that that's the Bible of Jewish, and yes, it's different from the New Testament, and I think they believe that the God is different, right? Just as you said, the name Messiah, yes, Messiah, yes. The Jewish think Messiah is God, right?
No, Messiah is waiting for who's gonna save the people from the
Yes, the world savior, right?
Uh-huh.
They think Messiah is coming here and save the people, and save the world, and not the Jesus Christ. Right?
They don't believe that we believe that Jesus Christ is
yes, right. That's the difference. That's the difference. I think I just knew this point. I think this is the important point.
But still, think about the Christianity is based on the Old Testament. Without Old Testament, we cannot explain God.
Yes.
So that's why Old Testament is like stories, a lot relate to history. And then I know there is a part is a story part, and certain parts can relate to the ritual part, and historical. They talk about all kings, generation to generation, and sometimes then when they left, then kind of prophesied for the future what happened, and then sometimes they use singing and wisdoms and different part of their kind of genres in the Bible. So, but it's really, the Bible is really centered to God.
Yes.
But that's the Old Testament. So we still, and foundation is Old Testament. So without foundation of the Old Testament, we cannot, the Christianity cannot be existed. And then Old Testament, New Testament, as you said, and still, and it's a lot of the prophets and prophesied there was Messiah coming and saving you guys from the world, and then they are waiting for. The Jews are waiting for, but we believe that based on the prophecies and how we achieved in the Bible, and then we believe that Jesus Christ, the Messiah. He's not and at the time, it's a lot of political issues there, and they lost their temples, and their temples destroyed, and they got exiled, and captivated, and exiled, and they lost the countries like that.
Yeah.
And then, how can they be saved from the whole things? And then they are ruled by the Persian, and Romans, and they don't have any political freedoms, right? And then they are waiting for the Messiah. And Babylon, and Persia, and Romans, and Greeks, and always they don't have like a Korea, and then they don't have a power. So think about the Israel bottom is Egypt, top is Babylon and Persia, and then there's kind of buffer zones. Okay, like Korea, and then politically, geographically, think about it. China wants to go to other part of the islands. If you go to always it takes long, but if you go to the sea, and then you gotta go to Korea, and then Japan and other countries,
Yeah.
easier, right?
Yes.
Then what about Japan? They will not go to the land, and then Korea they have to pass the Korea. To go to China is easier, right? That's why politically always buffer zones and fighting deals, like Israel. And then that's why they are waiting for freedom. Who's gonna bring the Messiah gonna bring? And then we believe that not just political freedom, but still spiritual freedom from the sin, but they don't talk about that part. And that's a big difference there. So, and the Old Testament period is always they worship like that, and then people they settled in the city. So why they were in the wilderness, desert, and then they have a tabernacle there that symbolize God's presence, and then in the middle of the camp, people move and move together, and the temple is in the middle of the camp, and then it symbolizes God's presence, and then God's ruling the community of Israel. And then they kind of God promised that they're gonna God's gonna give them a promised land, right? Canaan. And then they came to Canaan, and then they settled there, right? And then there's no more tabernacle, and they build a temple. Yeah. Do you know the King David? Have you heard about King David? So famous king in the Old Testament.
No, I don't know David.
Yeah, King David, and then he wanted to build a temple for God, and then there's no more tabernacles there, and then think about we could build a nice temple and like tabernacle, and then God's there, and the people come to the God and worship God, and then learn about God. And he wanted to build a temple, but God said no, because you killed too much people, and you have a lot of blood. So, and God promised that your next generations, King Solomon will not build the temple. And Solomon, Solomon later is King David's son. Solomon kind of built the temple, but during the David time, there is no tabernacle, but there is no temples, right? So, but why they were in the wilderness when they got out of the Egypt, and then they spent 40 years in the wilderness after that, and then they came into the Canaan, the promised land, and then what? The Jerusalem is the center of the what? Israel's life and worship. And but even though it's a little bit different, but they continually they have a big occasion and event, and then festival, and then come to the Jerusalem, and they celebrate together. That's a little bit different. So before they have tabernacles, and then what? They sacrifice to God and worship, right? And then when they worship is kind of practice in the Jerusalem, and then there is more freedom. It's not just for sacrificial ritual, and then freedom and joys and celebrating like this, and then little bit different. So, and that's why when you read the Bible and David and the Ark of God, and there is a presence of God, symbolize the presence of God, and when come to the Jerusalem, he danced like this.
The King David is the king of Israel. Oh, okay.
He is the Old Testament, living the Old Testament period.
Okay.
So, what is one of the great figure in Israel history, and then Abraham is a really big figure, because start was a kind of a group to make the Hebrew identity from Abraham, and what is after that, and King David, he's a very politically, he's a really powerful leadership. And then after that, and then there is a big figure of the prophet Elijah. Elijah, and then one of the Moses. I call Moses. Abraham, Moses, and then King David and Elijah. So big figures in Old Testament period.
Okay. I think Moses is how to say is most popular, most knowable in how to say in my word, because you know the Moses lead people leave Egypt. The story is very famous, and and there's piano pieces. How to say, I don't know the name in English, but it's describing him his story. So Moses is I know him a lot.
Oh, I see. Did you play the piano?
Yes, just a little bit.
I see. I don't know about the pieces, and then my daughter played the piano, and then but still I don't remember. I don't know.
Do you know the pianist Maxim? I don't know. I just know his name in Chinese, something like Mark Simu. He plays the piece describing the Moses leading people to go out of Egypt.
Yeah, I don't know the exact song. The name is Mach.
Yes, Mark.
Yeah,
What?
Rachmaninoff, something like that. It's a Russian the pianist, composer. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me check.
Yeah. So it's really worship is really a little bit changed to just a sacrifice and kill the animals, and then harvest some grains and give God, and then they really change like festivities, kind of activities. Yeah. So they celebrate the Sabbath every Saturday. Take a rest from work and then remember God and rest in God. So I don't know whether if you go to Israel, you can see Saturday how empty the street is, and then Friday afternoon you can see the. I was in Galilee area for the Sabbath, and then totally empty.
Oh, okay.
And then Saturdays they keep the Sabbath, and then they don't work and they take a rest. So you cannot see any people on the street.
Yes.
Yeah, they prepare everything and just kind of relax and remember God and take a rest. That is a big one of the days in Israel. So. And another kind of a festival is there, and then they say how God is blessed the people, and then so they can get a kind of a great harvest. And then here is the barley harvest, and then they kind of harvest the barleys, and then wheat harvest there, and generally yearly harvest there, and then they have a lot of seasonal kind of festivals. And just think about, they don't have activity at the time, just live in they are slave in the Egypt.
Yes.
And then they don't have festival, but when they came into the Canaan, and then different people also live, and then they need to adjust new environment, and how can they reinterpret the whole things and seasons and their work. And then they kind of have the kind of everything God's blessing and from God, and then they develop the kind of festivals and celebrate. Yeah. So that is a kind of festivals. It's about kind of deep expression of joy offered to God for His continued preservations and nourishment and harvest, harvest and stuff. Wow. This is just relate to God and reinterpret, and then remember God and celebrate God. That is a part of worship. And then remember the Passover, and then what happened when they leave the Egypt, and the God said kill the lamb, and then put it in the post of the door, and then God's punishment is going to escape, right? And then they are saved, and they remember what God has done, and so they kill the lamb, and then they blood was with the lamb's blood, and then they put the doorpost marked, and then God's judgment is going to skip the house, and then they should remember how God saved them. That's the Passover, and then Pentecost is like it's after it's a Passover, and then there is the Feast of Joy and Thanksgiving for the completion of the harvest season. Do you have kind of things in China? Any festivals? In Korean we call it Chuseok. Have you heard?
No, but yes, we have the Harvest Festival in China as well.
Yeah, there's a Pentecost in Israel. And one of the tabernacles, and then one of the feasts is Feast of the Tabernacle is also called Sukkot, which is a Hebrew word for the booths and tent. Remember how they went through 40 years of life in the wilderness. And they are not perished, but still survived, and then they are saved and then there's a tabernacle and Pentecost and Passover is a big festival, kind of the days that they observe. And those days, and they come over to Jerusalem and celebrate together here, Pentecost and Tabernacle. So this one is really joyful holiday of recognition of salvation. Think about Tabernacle is like they are get got out of the Egypt, and they are free from the slavery, and even though they are kind of wandered at the wilderness because of their they didn't listen to God, and but still remember God's protection and God's provisions, and like this, and it's a big festival. So, and just think about, and then like in the beginning they make altar and tabernacle, and they have a ritual, sacrificial and worship, and there's a special rituals there. And when they worship center is kind of a focused at Jerusalem, and then they really changed, right? After they came into Canaan. And that is the one. And then after that, still, just think about temple is there. And after David, and then Solomon built a temple instead of the tabernacle. And then it's really nice and splendid and grandeur. And then, but still, they celebrate like this. A little bit different. They teach about God's word, and they celebrate basic festivals and. And there is another place that came out, the synagogue, so temple after temple, and then why they built, after they built the temple, and everything is worship at the temple. And there is a, when they come, there's a small place, and priest goes to the place, and they come, help the people worship, and but big festival, they come to Jerusalem, like tabernacles and and Passover, and then was a Pentecost. They came over to Jerusalem and celebrate together. And but synagogue, and then the Israels destroyed by Babylon, like 582, 586, around that time BC, and then the temple is gone.
Okay.
And then they were captivated and took them to Babylon. And exiled, and then there's no temple. How can they practice, remember God, and how can they practice their worship? And that time is we call the synagogue. It's a kind of formed and came out instead of the temple. So that one is it's kind of other countries, right? In Babylon. So it should really become more religious, and they teach about God and worshiping God, and like educational and social center of the Jewish life. And I don't know whether you heard of the American immigrant life, and I studied a little bit about churches, how church functioned in immigrant life, and then just think about it like early, I don't know, at the time there's no many Christians, and then early life, and then when they came to United States, and there's no place to go, and then the first immigrant to the Christian church members group, and then when they came here, and then no place and not many people, and when they go to church, and what happened? lot of Koreans. Yeah. So like 30, 40, 50, 60s, and then 70s, and when they immigrate and they come to church, there's a kind of social centers. They can see the Koreans and they can speak Koreans, and kind of they can little bit free from the loneliness, and then they have the same people, and then it's really and sometimes they teaching about their traditions and their cultures and religions, and then talking about God. There's a basic immigrant church plays like the same as synagogues. So synagogues and always there is based on upon their faith, and based on the Deuteronomy and 4 and 69, who is God? Love God and with all your heart and mind and strength. That is like Muslims said it, and Islam, and then when it said was Allah is only God, like this, and when they recite it all the time, but they kind of recite the Shema, so proclaims the unity of God, and they are God's people, and kind of they kept their identity in faith, and then they have a unity, and that's a big role. And then suppose the primary duty of the children is like to love the Lord your God with all your hearts, and how you teach your children about God. That is the basic policies, and then really important functions as the synagogue played in exile period. And another thing is that there is a prayer, and not just to remember God, and they will pray, and based on what the traditions, and then there's 3 types of prayer, and then so I'm not going to talking about here, but still they pray. Like if they go to church and they will pray a time.
Okay.
And another thing is that when synagogues they will read the Bible together, and when there is a prominent rabbi teachers who really know the Bible very well, they can preach. Yeah. So there is a kind of similar to the Christian worships, and then there is sometimes, and then we don't. If you go and they have their own musics. They remember, and then it's Korean music is different from. So we have similar instruments there, but still different, right? And then was a Western instrument is totally different from Oriental instruments, but still they have their own and praising God, and still they learn about God. We have to read the God's word. I don't know whether scrolls and then open and rolling and long time ago. That is so. Sometimes generations are different. To think about that Babylon, and then the next generation grew up there. Maybe they have spoken language, but they don't have the religious language is very limited. Like my daughters, they grew up here, and then they don't know much about Korean. They understand the basic thing, so that's why it's just similar. And then they use a translator and translations.
Yes.
So we can see how kind of worship is developed. And then in the beginning, really, it's a patriarchal period. We call it Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. God chose Abraham. In that period, they made their own altar. Remember God, and like Jacob, and God is here, and remember, and he made altar. And later on, when they kind of travel, get out from the Egypt and then travel to the Canaan and then go a tabernacle, tent, right?
Yes.
And remember God and worshiping God. And after that, when they coming into what's Canaan, the promised land, and their voices were really Jerusalem is a word kind of really center to worship, and then they made a temple.
Yes.
And temple is the role had big role for worship, and after temple is destroyed, synagogue. Yeah. That's a kind of basic, but it's a change little by little. Now coming back to the Old Testament and the New Testament period. The New Testament in the beginning is a kind of extension of the Old Testament. Just think about their cultural background and the religious background and then always the Jewish cultural background and right and so early Christian worship and then the synagogues until there is kind of conflict between Christianity and Jews. And if you read the Old New Testament, and Apostle Paul always goes to the synagogue and teach them and try to explain the Word of God. And then he tried to connect with the New Testament of Jesus Christ. Yeah. And Jesus still, in the beginning of the New Testament period, while Jesus was here and then there, and then he's still part of the Old Testament period and worship. So he went to Jerusalem with the parents and they listened to God and they practiced God. After the kids are born, and they showed the priest in 8. So there's a discrimination between men and the boys and girls. Boys are 8 days and girls is 30 days.
Oh.
There's a difference.
Okay.
Do you know the patriarchal society? So male dominant society, especially the Asian cultures.
Yes.
It's not like Western society. Yeah. So, interesting.
Yes, right.
And so still Jesus Christ practiced in the Jewish worship styles and synagogues and go to Jerusalem and then stories were conceived there. Yeah. But Jesus tried to reinterpret the worship. And what was his doing is that worship is from heart. It's not just a ritual. And if you just keep the ritual, it's not God doesn't want to just ritual, but what? Heart in your actions. And that is a kind of what is it, prophet? Prophet is always, I don't want to bring the sacrifices and fattened lambs, animals, but I want your heart. So, and people are just think about, people are really used to it, and then the system is like institutionalized and then organized, and then everything is well settled, and then people are used, right? And then they kind of losing the spirit.
No.
Yeah, that's the kind of Jesus Christ is rebuking the Pharisees, who is really try to godly life, pious life in people God, and then you guys keep everything what Bible said, but there is no heart. That's a Jesus Christ rebuking point. And when Jesus Christ worship is like in the early church, kind of when Jesus Christ came to the world and then remember that and who Jesus Christ is, and Christianity remember who Jesus Christ, and he is prophesied, and then he's kind of words and everything is kind of fulfilled, and then his ministry is fulfilled by Jesus Christ, and but it's already prophesied by a prophet in the Old Testament period, and so. When Jesus Christ came, and then here is what he has done, and then he died on the cross, and he resurrected after 3 days, and then Christ said ascended to heaven, and then he said he's gonna come back. He's coming back. So we are waiting for that, but we are not sure when he's coming back. And so there is kind of baptism symbolize I died with sin with Jesus Christ, I resurrected to become from the dead. The death is a result of the sin, but baptism in there is kind of submerged into water. I died, and then getting up is what, and then I come back to life, come back to life, and then like die on the sin, and I live in Jesus Christ. Like that. That's a baptism. But another function is that I proclaim that I'm a Christian in front of people. I'm the follower of Jesus Christ. That is a pronouns in front of people that I am the follower of Jesus Christ. That's a baptism. Another meaning. Well, there's a lot of debating and argument about baptism is really forgiving the sin itself. But like Protestant is going to kind of symbolize like that. We practice, symbolize. And after Jesus Christ died, and Christianity is kind of born. And if you read, and when Jesus Christ ascended to heaven, and then don't go away and just stay there, and then he's gonna send something, and then but the Spirit upon them, and some things happen, and then Christianity is born in Acts chapter 2, and then their worship style is there is no church at the time, like 33 years AD, and right after Jesus Christ died and ascended to heaven, and then there is no church at the time. But church was kind of we said people who follow Jesus Christ. So when we say church, is two kind of churches there. One is a universal church and local church. Have you heard? Yeah. Universal church means that we cannot see. But Jesus Christ is the head of the church, and who believe Jesus Christ, and who follow Jesus Christ, and they are the body of the church. That is a universal church. And local church is like you went, and any kind of lot of churches. We say there's two kind of church: local church and universal church.
Okay.
So
is there universal church around here, or?
No, you cannot see. Everybody's church. Not building. If you believe Jesus Christ, you are church. I believe Jesus, I'm a church.
Just at heart. Okay.
And then it's not visible. It's not visible, but and just think about people who live in Africa, but they follow Jesus Christ, and then Jesus Christ head of the church, Bible said, and then the followers was the church. Yeah, it's one church, big one church.
Yes, got it.
Yeah, there is a two kind of church, and then I try to say there is no any local church like at that time. So people get together someone's house.
Yes.
And house church, and then like in China. So the government doesn't allow to build a church in the beginning, and then they secretly gather someone's house and they study the Bible. But later on, government can't ignore the kind of building of churches, and then they allowed, and then churches came to the surface. But as a couple years ago, and then the government tried to crush the churches.
Oh.
Have you heard?
Where?
In China.
In China.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe during the 1960,
Yeah.
1960 to 70s.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
cultural regulations.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yes. So people suffer a lot from that. How to say the victim. Yes. So I think everything about religions were destroyed. Yes. I didn't experience that, so I can feel it. I just heard about that from my parents, and I think they it's hard for them to how to say to record this experience because their parents suffer a lot. Many people died because some wrong decisions from the leaders. So lots of people maybe suicide at that time. So it's a dark time.
Yeah.
Yes, in China.
And another one is the Boxer movement. That's too. And recently the government kicked out a lot of missionaries.
Yeah.
And then I heard a lot of kind of more kind of as I said, they supervise churches. The government, and then there is a policeman there, and then they send and they try to control the churches. And there's official churches there, and there's not official churches there. And official churches there, so the government kind of give them permission. So there is not official church. It's not they kind of group of people. They get together and have worship. We call the house church. A lot of
Yes.
At the time, it's like house church. There is not local church like buildings and still since David, and then the Jerusalem is kind of the center of the religious activity, and then still a lot of people travel to the Jerusalem for the especially the holidays. The festivals, we talk about the Pentecost and then the Tabernacles, and they came over to Jerusalem, and people who dispersed around there, and they, even though they are not live in Jerusalem, they come to the Jerusalem and celebrate together. That is a kind of a still center was the worship in Jerusalem was center of worship, and at that time there is a lot of and churches are kind of born here. The follower of Jesus Christ is growing in Judaism and try to persecute the Christians. And then people are really scared and then disperse and then go to around the area. And because it was at the time a big movement, and then just think about who has a right or power, and they want to lose it, and then they crush the Christians, and then so people are dispersed, and then wherever they go, and then they start the church. But it seems like it's different from nowadays church. It's based on their religion. So we call, I don't know whether you have heard about Messianic church. They are Jew, but they believe in Jesus Christ. We call the Messianic church. Yeah, there is, but their worship style is different. They still adopting the Old Testament, Yeah, so a little bit different.
Oh,
So, well, I already told the universal church, right? Jesus Christ is the temple of the head, and then everybody is the what? Temple, churches. And that concept is and then people at the time and in early Christian churches, and then people get together and then what? Pray together and remember what Jesus Christ in the Last Supper, and right before he gave himself to the high priest to death, and then he eating together and was with bread, and then you will remember where we go, and then so Last Supper, or remember that we nowadays we call it communion and Eucharist, and then like another word in Last Supper and Eucharist, and then communion, and then they practiced and they sharing eatings and they pray together and they learn about Jesus Christ. Even though there is no church like this and no music band and not like well organized service, but still there. You know? So the apostles is played a very big role to lead the worship and to teach the word of Jesus Christ. And then some churches were dispersed, a lot of Christians persecuted by the religious leaders, and they dispersed and they go around the area, and then the Apostle Paul, he traveled a lot around the area to preach the gospel about Jesus Christ, and then but already some place the church is already formed, like Antioch. Already Paul goes there and talk about Jesus Christ, and then what? Already church was there. So there is what we call the diaspora churches. Diaspora church already dispersed, and then churches started. They believe Jesus Christ. That is the first, really, right after Jesus Christ died. And then that is kind of apostolic period, meaning that in the beginning, kind of churches formed, and after that, the Jesus Christ 12 disciples still preaching about Jesus Christ and try to care about the people who follows Jesus Christ. That's we call it, why they live around the first centuries. Still after Jesus Christ died, and his disciples was coming and had the rest of the unfinished work, and then tried to preach about Jesus Christ. And then there's a apostolic period, we could say that. Still, there is a lot of people are growing, and sometimes there is no right forms, and that's why Paul is travel around and write a lot of letters, and then that's why we believe that Bible is coming out. So before the Bible is coming out, and then there is rely on the oral tradition. They don't written down, they didn't write down what Jesus Christ said, and they heard. Right? That's their education. And repeat and remember, and that's memorize, and it's kind of the stories mouth to mouth. And then think about people are growing, a lot of people, and then the rest of school is getting bigger and bigger, and then you cannot do it. Right? So apostles, just 12 apostles cannot go everywhere. And then scholars come to believe that from the time they will remember what Jesus Christ said and write down. And then they're going to go and they just remember what Jesus Christ said, and then repeat and train the people and send them like this. And kind of little by little, so the church organized. So, and there's a lot of issues when you read the other books, and then, and after that, the apostles are gone, everybody in the second centuries, and then still there is kind of practice based on the early churches practice. A little bit. This is the second century. How they do, and then there's a prayer, and there's like some Bible verses there, and still practice like this, and then one of is the letter of Pliny, the Roman governor of the Bithynia and Pontus, is like nowadays it's the top of the above the top of the Turkey. I don't know, it's close to China.
Yes.
Yeah, that is his government at the time, and then there was in the early period a lot of misunderstanding about Christianity, and then they misunderstand about the also Last Supper. They practice cannibalism. They eating the Jesus' bodies, and then they symbolize taking the bread, and this is the body of Jesus Christ, and this is sharing a cup of wine, and this is the blood of Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
So remember, and his death, and but people kind of in Romans, they don't like Christians, and then literally understanding and kind of they try to persecute the Christians. There's a misunderstanding there, but the governor he said that the Christians bound themselves by oaths not to commit any crime. They said they tried, and another one, they want to build their kingdom. The kingdom is that not like at the time, not like another build another nation, but they believe that. But kingdom is about God's reign. It's a kingdom, not reigned by politicians, right? But they believed literally, and they say, oh, they want to build another kingdom, and then they want to separate from Rome, and that's a misunderstanding, right? And so he said that Christians bound themselves by an oath not to commit any crime, but to abstain from the theft, robbery, and adultery, that they should not break their word or deny the deposit when they called upon patriots. So just think about who are the Christians. Their morality is really high. They don't practice theft, robbery, and that's a misunderstanding of a Christian. Yeah. That is so, and so why it's not absolutely clear how this oath was expressed. It is generally believed to be what liturgical scholar Joseph, young man, described the distances, the distance parallel to the Sunday confession of sins, and mean that that is kind of the letter shows that Christians are very ethical, and they don't practice like Romans and other peoples. It's about that one, and they are harmless. They are harmless. It's not, they are not threatening the Roman government, and that is a basic. But still, their life is really, really kind of honest and respected, and that is so. And here is another part of how they get to what they did. When they had performed this kind of their practice, and it was their custom to depart to meet together again for a meal, but of the common and harmless kind. So they said that they have even given up doing this since the promulgation of my edict, by which, in accordance with your commands, I had forbidden the existence of a club. And okay, don't do it, and they didn't, like this. And just think about and how they practice and how they worship, but that's harmless. It's very common. There's the first century, notice the first Christianity, the two second centuries, third centuries. Another direct case, another the document is said that the second document coming from the same period of time is a direct case in the digital document. Early church manual contains, among the other things, instructional material for the early churches. That one is like how they practice the Last Supper. Last Supper meant when Jesus Christ shared the bread, and this is my body, and cup, and this is my blood. That is a kind of basic things. And then another material is that still this is a really common things what they practice when they get together. So baptism is one of the common things, and then what it means we already talk about. And Eucharist, remembering what Jesus Christ, what is symbolizing? Bread and the wine. So that is a very common thing that they practice when they get together for worship. And this one is liturgy of the word, and then how they read the word of God. And then nowadays, and a lot of time they don't read the Bible, only just one section. But if you go to other churches and they read it together, different sections there. But nowadays, if you go to the Crossway, you've been, and then there is no section kind of reading Bible together, not related to the sermon, preaching. But nowadays, a lot of they skip it. But when I grew up in Korean church, the Presbyterian churches, and then they have welcoming, and we're going to talk about later, and then they have sections there, and then read it together. Sometimes psalm, and that's a part of their worship, and try to read the gospel word. That is one of the traditions from the early churches. But nowadays they don't do it. Yeah, just to read about the text.
Yeah, they don't have this section of reading Bible.
So when they have, and then long time ago in the early churches, and then they have read the Bible, and then that Bibles and remembers, and sometimes when they baptism and when they have a special liturgy, and they read the Bible. They don't preach, but and songs, they maybe song, and they someone is there and they're reading, leading, and sing together, and alleluias, and then sermons there, and then that is and deacons, some people who really trained how to read the Bible, they coming out and lead to read the Bible at the time, but not nowadays. And then, that is how they kind of read the Bible. It's a really big element for worship, because nowadays we really rely on the preacher, right? pastor who preaches the word of God and who try to listen, but devil is just reading the word of God without any help and without any, just focus on the reading. And sometimes we believe that there is a Father God and there is a Son Jesus Christ God, and then there is a Holy Spirit. So Spirit kind of opens our eyes to understand the word of God. Yeah. There is kind of, at that time, and what they practice in their churches, and then we already talked about the deacons litany, and then they train, they come out and read the Bible, and read, pray together, and then we don't practice here the kind of kiss of peace, holy kiss, and then I don't know whether you go to Mexico and then when they hug and kiss, here, kind of make a sound, and then but not like a mouth to mouth, holy kiss. We say kind of greetings.
Okay.
That is a kind of liturgy. It's not like kiss that people. And sometimes. What kind of liturgy is there while they worship offering, especially for the people who need. So fatherless, widow, and orphans, and poor, and they collect money and then give them to people. Like that is an honorable, and there is a lot of things that they practice and at the time. Prayer and Lord's Prayer is like Jesus Christ taught, and then we don't. Some of them is nowadays we don't practice. I never seen, I never heard. Some of them is like with my background, and then some are very familiar, some are I never seen. But at that time, the worship style was different from ours. Nowadays it's really getting simpler and simpler. And a lot of churches don't have offering times. Maybe nowadays they use a credit card. Sometimes they use the internet and Venmos. They use the internet banking and Venmos, and sometimes some churches don't have offering time, and when they come in, they put the basket and they just pray and that's it. And some church has kind of while they singing, kind of offering baskets, passing around, and they put the offerings like that. In a different style, and then one thing is that preaching time is never gone. So always talk about God's word. There's a lot of things they practice in the early churches. Just in case, I might just think of too many orders.
Yeah. Yes.
But so I don't know whether if you go to Catholic Church and Eastern Orthodox Church, and then they were different.
Yes, maybe, but I think the most of the church in the USA is Christian church, right?
Yeah, but still, Christian church means that Catholic Church is a Christian church. We call that Protestant. It's like different from Roman Catholic Church. Roman Catholic Church is different from the Eastern Catholic Church. So one of the big differences Roman Catholic Church and Eastern Catholic Church is that Eastern Catholic Church is
Russia?
Yeah, and Egypt, and the priest could marry. The Roman Catholic Church, they have a celibacy and they cannot marry. That's a difference, and there's a theological differences there and some cultural difference there. here is Eastern Church, and Eastern Church is really Catholic Church and really influence of the Greeks. Just think about Greeks, and they use philosophy and poems, a lot of literal influences there, and then but still a lot of symbolic things there, and they accept it. That's why they, based on their influence, they have their own. But Roman Catholic is a kind of Western church, we call it, and but they have a Romans influence. Just think about Romans influence. And Romans influence, and the Roman church has the Pope has really power. But Eastern church is the empress power, it's a different.
Yes.
Yeah. And then basically, in terms of philosophy, the Roman culture is very practical.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why when you see that how is Western Christianity is formed, and the Eastern Christianity is kind of based on that one is a little bit different. And think about and big cultural differences between the Roman, the Western culture and Eastern culture. We are part of the Eastern culture.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So there is kind of even though the Catholic churches, we call it the Catholic church, the Orthodox church, and there's a big differences there. Yeah. So any questions?
No.
Well, I want you to know that as time is kind of evolved little by little, and then worship styles have changed.
Yes.
What is the just think about, is there really archetype of worship? And what is the original style of worship?
Lots of animals.
And then, I also,
And different place and then
sacred place,
Yes.
but still, remember what is the heart of worship.
Yes.
And I try to see, and because nowadays we consider the church worship is really kind of influenced by the trend of the world. Trend of the world.
Yes.
And then we are doing right. I just thinking a question about our worship. So what is the archetype? What is the original worship of the Christianity, or Christianity? So I just thinking about. So I don't say that I gotta answer or no, but still really. When I study about this topic, and then there is no any other special types of worship. Just think about, we are influenced by the cultures and then specific things, and but there is kind of own, faith is there, faith, right? God is there. How can we keep this one without the kind of influence of the world? World perspective is different from our perspective on faith, right? Yeah, so I had just a question about it, but and any questions? No?
No.
How was it? I think so, this is the first time that you.
Yes, lots of contents that I need to take my time to understand.
Yeah. Still, it's a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna just give you a brief history about how. My purpose is just to learn how the worship styles have changed.
Yes.
Based on the period of time and cultural influence. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the coming to the class, and I
Thank you for your
expecting
time.
hard student, but they are not coming today. Yeah. So and so just think about Christianity and worship and anything. If you have questions, and just bring it. So let's talk about it in the class.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. God bless you and have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.